So here we are at our VBA editor. I want to just show you a couple style things just real quick. What I did is I just deleted all of those spaces and just added them back. I want to show that you can also use the tab, so I did the tab there. Also in Dr. Mace's example, he had a few more spaces over here, so I'm going to just do that just so it looks a little nicer. You can see kind of the features. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click over to our VBA example spreadsheet and talk about how we actually use this. So I'm going to type in, just as Dr. Mace has, VBA functions, or function used with, oops, and I can spell. I can really spell, I promise. And radius. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to copy this from up here and paste here so I don't have to retype that. That saves some space. And I'm going to go 1.0, 2.0. I'll go back and add the resolution that we want with a decimal after the digits after the decimal place. So we've got that. We've got it circled. Now what I'm going to do is go up here to right under where I want to calculate with my VBA function that I used in Excel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and type an equal, and I'm going to start typing in area of circle, because that's what the function is. And what you notice when I type in A, just like all functions, when you've been playing around with Excel functions, there's all sorts of things. We could do some averaging, calculate the arc whose tangent is, etc. Remember that we've got to use radians for those. But the other interesting thing is, notice now that we've got one that's called area of circle, and that's the function that I've defined over in my VBA editor. So I'm going to type in area of circle and click on the 1, hit a closed parentheses, and notice we get a number that looks exactly like what Dr. Mace had. So I'm going to copy this down. So what I did to copy that is I highlighted that, I grabbed on the lower right corner and just dragged down. And you'll see that all of these are equivalent or identical to those numbers that Dr. Mace had on his spreadsheet. So this example showed how to use the Visual Basic Editor with our function of area of circle that we defined over in our other Visual Basic Editor. So this is cool. So I'm going to go ahead and talk and finish with his example that he's got on page 95, and he's just doing a little bit of error checking to see how, my circle program, my area of circle function that I've defined, how that compares to the using Excel. And so for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this here and paste it. But one thing I've got to do is I want to go over by 2. So what we're doing is we're taking pi times this radius in our first column and squaring it. And I need to get rid of the apostrophes so that it actually calculates a function. And I need to copy this over here. And let's center this and drag this down. And it looks like Dr. Mace has fewer decimals on this. So I'm going to go ahead and notice those are a little bit different than what Dr. Mace has. It's probably because of the fact that he's using something different other than pi. He might be using 3.14, etc. and instead of how I use the pi function. So anyways, that gives you an idea. And then just to calculate the error, what he's doing, he's saying that that is equal to the absolute value of how I calculated it in Excel versus VBA divided by my VBA answer, or value we got. And let's go ahead and calculate that. So that's equal to what I calculated in Excel. And I'm going to go ahead and put a left parentheses there, minus area I calculated with my VBA program and divide that by what I calculated with my VBA program. And you can see the error that I've got. But again, it's very, very small, and so no big deal.